heard this time. Is my mic okay? For all the viewers tuned in for tonight. So we have we'll be spectating a match. The featured match for tonight will be between Rod and Penguin. So I will be getting Alright, so my mic is okay. So hello everyone. Welcome to the first of many streams for this tournament series called Tyrant Thursdays. So give me a second just to prepare some stuff. Here we go. So we're just waiting for the players to show up. Music is a bit loud. Okay, let's adjust that. Okay. There we go. I think the music should be better now. Zinsuki, is there a reward or just for fun? Yeah, it's just for fun. This is just a casual tournament for players if they want to test or, you know, have some sparring in VGC. And is catered more so for those based in the Philippines. But of course, we're very much open to players outside that wish to join. So Ryan Chua, let me know if the music is better now with this audio. Is this a per week tournament for casual games? Yes. It's a per week thing. Hopefully, I'm available every week to host this. This will just be my non-playing time since I usually will be playing a lot of VGC. So for now, I will be stepping back, hosting, organizing, and I will be your caster for these events. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for letting me know that my audio is better. Hopefully, you all enjoy the stream. I'll be giving my best in commentating, and I believe the match is now underway, so we can spectate now. We'll spectate from the side of the blue side all the time. I will be adjusting as well the measurements of the players so that they don't get in the way here. Forgive me. Go. So it doesn't get in the way. That should be okay. For the chat, let's move it up here so we can see everything. There. Okay, so on the side of Rod, we have here Charizard, Metagross, Whimsicott, Glimora, Basculegion, and Garchomp. And then on the side of Penguin, give me a second, I need to pull up their team sheets. So, here we go. So Penguin is rocking the Aerodactyl, Frostlass, Mamoswine, Raichu, Goldengo, and Serena. And here, Penguin led with his Raichu and Aerodactyl against Rod's, Whimsicott, and Glimora. Definitely that Raichu will be protecting the Aerodactyl with its ability Lightning Rod. However, he may lose it should he wish to go for his Mega Raichu Y Mega Evolution right here. Whereas Rod, on the other hand, has a bit of a lesser offensive lead in the form of the Whimsicott and Glimmora. However, that Glimmora is threatening that Aerodactyl with a strong Power Gem. But we see here the Raichu going for the Fake Out onto the Glimmora, triggering its ability of Toxic Debris, which sets up the Toxic Spikes, and the Whimsicott does go for the safe Tailwind to ensure that its team will have its double speed, and Penguin matches that with his own Tailwind from that Aerodactyl. So right here, players have matched each other in Tailwind. However, that Aerodactyl is threatened right now because this Whimsicott does have access to Encore and is threatening it with that. So we'll have to wait and see if Penguin will probably expect that Encore and switch out, which he does indeed do right here, fearing that, and he switches in the Zarina. So for those of you who are unaware, Zarina's ability is Queenly Majesty, which protects its side from any priority moves, and Whimsicott, using its ability Prankster, making its status moves have access to a +1 priority, does protect it from that. And here, the Mega Evolution of the Raichu Y launches a strong Zap Cannon, getting that one shot onto the Glimmora, of course getting the prior Fake Out damage, removing any Focus Sash. Let's check again if it is indeed holding a Focus Sash, which it is indeed. So that prior Fake Out was very useful on the side of Penguin. And for those of you unaware, those newer players, Mega Raichu Y's ability is No Guard, making all of its attacks being launched from it and also being received from it have perfect accuracy, which is why that Zap Cannon was ensured to hit it. Penguin switching out his Mega Raichu for Aerodactyl to prevent any weakness from that Garchomp's Earthquake, because of course Mega Raichu, just like its base form, is weak to ground moves, but Rod predicting that and going for the Dragon Claw onto the Serena here. What does the Whimsicott go for? It goes for the Moon Blast, the double up onto the Serena, forgive me, getting that crucial knockout. So Penguin slightly losing about a bit on the tempo, having switched out that Raichu, but fairly expecting the Earthquake here. But in return, Rod does take advantage of that fear. So Mamoswine now being poisoned because of that prior Toxic Spikes from the Glimmora. And right here we have just seen the Garchomp on the side of Rod holding that Life Orb. So all its attacks are definitely going to be hurting, and especially on the side of Penguin, there is no Intimidate to neuter such damage. But this time around, on the side of Penguin, he brings out that Mamoswine, which now threatens that Garchomp. So, for those of you who are very well versed in VGC, and for those of you who are just initiates at the moment, Garchomp is weak ×4 to Ice moves, and Mamoswine is definitely one of those stronger physical Ice-type Pokemon, which does threaten it right now. Possibly even with an Ice Shard, just to make sure it goes before the Garchomp. Whimsicott going for the safe protect here. I believe Rod might just want to be scouting things out, considering he might just want to burn the Tailwind turns here. Apologies for that, viewers. I had to step out for a moment, and here we see that Rod switch out his Garchomp for the Charizard, trying to eat that ice move, and this Whimsicott is able to tank that dual wing beat from the Aerodactyl, which is, I believe it must have been Eevee to survive that, unless the Aerodactyl does not have any offensive EVs on its part. So right now, I believe Tailwind should be on the side of... oh, there's no Tailwind set up. But instead, the Aerodactyl is encored for 2 more turns. And we see here the Mega Charizard being unleashed and throwing out that drought, boosting the damage of all fire-type moves. Mamoswine going for the safe protect here. What's the Aerodactyl, of course, being forced to use that dual wing beat, protecting this Charizard in some way from those rock slides. And the Charizard, of course, gonna be launching its Heat Wave and going before that Aerodactyl due to the Whimsicott setting up the Tailwind. But it tanks that pretty well, making it a 3-hit knockout from that Heat Wave. So this dual wing beat will be taking out the Whimsicott. However, from a strategic point of view, I believe that is advantageous on the side of Rod, since the Whimsicott has served a very good purpose this game, and the free switch into the Garchomp will definitely indeed be helping it. However, I think if you were on the side of Rod, you'd still safely protect that Garchomp, of course, because considering the Mamoswine could just easily throw out an Ice Shard in its direction, making it easily threatened despite the Tailwind advantage. So we'll have to wait and see. This is a bit of a guessing game on the part of both players, especially since that Mamoswine is holding a Life Orb, which definitely will be boosting its damage output, and that Ice Shard times 4 against the Garchomp should definitely take the KO, especially since the Garchomp does have a bit of chip damage already on it. And the players taking their time. Oh, but the Mamoswine is being switched out for the Raichu here. Maybe because Penguin expecting to protect onto the Garchomp. Did he make a very good call? And yes, indeed he did. So now that Raichu is going to be threatening a fake out in the next turn. Assuming it does survive this Weather Ball coming out from the Charizard, which it does not. So Raichu being taken out here with one shot from that Weather Ball, which is of course Fire type because of the sunny weather, and Aerodactyl's dual wing beat not being able to take out that Charizard. However, its Encore does end. And I think my game just froze. Did my game just freeze? Oh my game just froze, viewers. Apologies for that. Give me a second to fix this. Okay, I'm back with the stream. It should be okay now. Apologies for that to the viewers. However, we were able to catch Penglin winning game 1 of their match with the Aerodactyl surviving the entire battle. So that Aerodactyl was definitely be able to survive everything despite being encore to his dual wing beat and constantly just throwing out consistent amount of damages, which I'm sure was able to contribute towards Penglin's victory there. So now on the side of Rod, you'd have to reconsider your strategy in dealing with that Aerodactyl, because of course it does threaten your own Charizard, because rock type moves does deal extremely effective, which is times 4 onto Charizard being a fire and flying type. But we get into our game 2 here. It now is underway. So what leads will we see? We see a change up on the side of Penglin leading that Raichu and Goldengo, but Rod does choose to lead with the same 2 Pokemon in the form of the Whimsicott and the Glimmora. So if I were on the side of Rod, I'd feel very problematic right now because that Goldengo is threatening both Pokemon right now with a powerful Make It Rain. However, of course, we all know that Make It Rain was nerfed in this patch of Pokemon Champions. Make It Rain now reducing the special attack of Goldengo by 2 after it is launched, as well as lowering the accuracy from 100 to 95%. So there is a chance it may miss. It's just like an Electro Web, but of course, the chance of that happening is minimal. But nonetheless, we'll have to wait and see onto the outcome of this turn. But we see a switch out here with the Glimmora being switched out for the Garchomp, probably trying to preserve it in the face of that Goldengo. And the Garchomp probably coming out expecting a hit from the Raichu, and the feint is thrown out, where Penglin must have expected to protect. The feint, I believe it was able to deal some recoil from the Rough Skin, and the Make It Rain does come out. And Goldengo's special attack has harshly fallen because of that. So on the side of Penglin, he did dish out 62% of damage, which is very good. And on the side of Rod, he did preserve that Whimsicott in some way. However, of course, tempo is on the side of Penglin right now. The Aerodactyl makes a resurface and shows itself again in place of that Raichu, probably trying to shuffle that fake out for a later turn. And the Earthquake coming out with Penglin expecting it this time. So only the Goldengo is gonna get knocked out, and it does fall from that one-hit knockout. However, on the side of Penglin, I think that's what you would have wanted here, considering that Goldengo is already neutered, having gone at a -2 drop from the Make It Rain, and that Aerodactyl is fresh right here. I believe this Aerodactyl is also holding a Focus Sash, and that ensures that it cannot be taken out by one move. Nonetheless, the Whimsicott and Garchomp have no means of being able to do that anyway, especially with this Raichu being able to throw out a fake out onto the Garchomp, although it does take out some of the HP through the Rough Skin onto that Raichu. It will probably still keep it alive, yeah. As we see here, that the Moonblast not being enough to take out the Raichu, especially considering Raichu is bulkier on the special side. And Penglin has set up his own Tailwind to set up their own speed. And now we have to question what are on the side of Rod. What are you gonna do now? Because he has staggered Tailwind. He's gonna be at an advantageous late game. And because of this Queenly Majesty coming in, he can't be encored anymore. Sure, he does take some chip damage from that dual wing beat, but on the side of Penglin, that's completely fine. Momentum is completely on your side. So you can't count Rod out, of course, because the game hasn't ended yet, but you can't also deny that Penglin has an overwhelming advantage right now. Hindi kita yung HP ng Mons. Oh, okay. Give me a second to adjust the HP. Apologies for that. There we go. Mm, I think the side of penguin is fine here. That should be better now, I think. Let me know if it's better now. There. I reorganized everything. And of course, my game freezes again. What is wrong with my setup right now? Apologies for that. So give me a moment again to fix my stream setup. So we are back. I don't know why my remote isn't working this time, however. So we'll have to fix that. I think my game also did have. It seems that the game has hung. Do you wanna? Yeah, maybe another time, Rain. But right now, I think my problem is trying to stream this. So let's try and reset everything. So give me a second, viewers. I apologize for the inconvenience. Coming back. Okay, we're back. Hopefully we do not experience any more hiccups here, because even I am getting annoyed. So here we catch up to see that the Goldengo has fallen on the side of Penguin, and on the side of Rod, his Basque Legion in turn has fallen. And Glimora comes back out alongside that Mamoswine. However, just looking on the board state alone, Penguin is definitely at an advantage here, considering that the Whimsicott has dropped in terms of HP. Oh, and that Power Gem failing to take out the knockout, even if it was a critical hit, and this Mamoswine's high horsepower not being able to take out the Glimora because of the Focus Sash. So another proc on the side of that Toxic Debris will be thrown out on against Penguin's side, and that Mamoswine losing some HP because of the Life Orb. So technically that Mamoswine has really done a good job this turn, considering it was able to live at 1 HP. And Encore does go out onto that Aerodactyl. I believe the last move that it used was Tailwind, locking it into that, and Ice Shard going into that Spiky Shield. Oh no, Dual Wing Beat was the last move, my apologies. So that Aerodactyl still being able to take out the Whimsicott. However, I believe that Rod may have the Charizard at the back. Definitely he does, and so he's protected from those rock slides, and Tailwind is has ended on both sides. So on the side of Rod, you'd be glad that the Aerodactyl can't set up a Tailwind nor throw out a rock slide. However, it does resist the heat waves, as we've already seen here, and that Mamoswine is threatening a simple Ice Shard onto that Glimora, being able to take it out, and the Mega Raichu should be able to sweep this game once it comes back into here, and this double Spiky Shield failing to go off, so that Mamoswine will be trading its own life for the Glimoras. And now at this point, you just can't help but see that Penguin more or less has the advantage here. No, Denmark. Penguin was up in game 1, and this is game 2. Charizard avoiding the dual wing beat, however, and that Weather Ball is gonna be able to go through here. But of course, the Aerodactyl being able to resist fire type moves will hang on. And now that Raichu coming back in for sure, being the last Pokemon. So on the side of Rod, you can't help but feel a sense of defeat being assured here, because that Raichu could just simply throw out a fake out to stall out one of the encore turns of the Aerodactyl, which I believe should end this turn. Yes, so this is the last turn of encore onto that Aerodactyl, and the fake out will ensure that. However, you could also just throw a straight up Zap Cannon to that Charizard, but you know, why not just go with the safe route? So we have yet to see. And indeed, the Raichu does go for the fake out, and the dual wing beat is being thrown out to this Charizard just to, you know, ensure the sure win on the part of Penguin. So, barring any possible miracles here, Rod will be losing out the whole match. So, congratulations to Penguin. He gets 2 wins in their whole best of 3 match. And I believe they were one of the last matches. So we have one more pending match. Let's see where they are now. We can go and spectate them right now. Okay, so we have their code here. It's gonna be Indigo versus Goda. So right now, the players are currently in game 3. They were able to reach it all the way there. So let's see how both players are doing. Oh, it's no wonder that they're taking a while, because it's an Archaludon war right now. But I think both trainers have run out of time. So, what's going on here? Is this for real? Did both trainers really run out of time? Because if so, that will result in a draw. Did they also freeze? Did their game freeze as well? Oh. Oh, but the Dragon Pulse being able to take out the other Archaludon. So, I believe that was a win onto the part of Goda. So, we have finished that match. We can move on now. So all matches have been accomplished, I believe. Oh, there's still one more. There's one more that I overlooked. They're currently in game 3. Wow, so we have a backup, 2 of the backup. And it's between Kubi and Nolan. So. They're also in game 3, so the competition must be really close with these players. Okay, so here it's a 2 versus 1. with Kubi only having his Megastaraptor left against a Mega Dragalge. You don't see that every now and then as of the release of the MB format, alongside King Gambit at 25%. So right now, HP wise, I think Nolan definitely has the advantage here. Of course, that Brave Bird being launched out, will it take out the Dragalge? It does indeed. However, this King Gambit, I'm sure, will be taking out this Staraptor, especially since it does receive recoil. So, congratulations to Nolan. The last match being concluded the moment we were able to join. Okay. So, we finished the backup and then the backup of the backup. Check stats of the Staraptor. Wala, tapos na eh. So, we'll be going to the next round here. Give it a second. All matches have been concluded. Okay. Hopefully my stream setup doesn't have any hiccups. However, I will be going on to the featured match and be leaving the game on first for all of you to view, as I need to step out because I need to give food to my cats. But I will definitely leave a game on for all of you to view, the featured match. So I'll be ending round 1 right now. We are 11 minutes ahead of schedule. So we'll be going to the next round now. Pairings have been finalized. So here is round 2. Let me send it to the players. Okay. So the featured match, let's look for a very hot one. Of course, I'd like to give preference to those matches where they have not been streamed, and I have indeed found one that is worth watching. So we will be streaming a match between the 2024 Philippine national champion against Renny Payumo, who is himself no slouch, being one of the prominent and best players in the Philippines. So we'll just be waiting for their code to come out, and then we will set the stream up. Since I'll be stepping away, I'll just be dropping their team lists right now. So Renny is rocking a Torkoal, a Farigiraf, a Conkeldurr, a Kangaskhan, Charizard, and Venusaur. And then on the side of Pong, he's using a Basculegion, Sinistra, Archaludon, Frostlass, Sableye, and Politoed. So neither of the players using any of the new added Pokemon. And basing off their items, I don't think they're even using any of the new items as well, except for, of course, on the side of Renny, who is. Both players still basically using an MA team. Ay nako, these players trying to hide their secret sauce for whatever reason. But of course, in the Philippines, it's understandable considering this Saturday we will be having a tournament in Angeles, Pampanga. Water Spout number 2, I think, being organized by the team behind North and Central Luzon. So if you are from the Philippines, you should be sure to check out their event and consider going and attending, because I myself will be there competing. So understandable why players in the Philippines are trying to hide stuff out. Let's see. So I'll be leaving you all for a moment as I'll be stepping out, but the game has loaded and hopefully barring any hiccups, I hope you all enjoy in my short absence. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. No Pokemon have fallen yet. Oh, I just spoke so soon as that Sableye has just gotten knocked out from that Kangaskhan. Definitely being scrappy, being able so it can hit Ghost type Pokemon with normal and of course fighting type moves. And the furry giraffe was able to set up Trick Room, so it kind of does signal that there is a Torkoal in the back, and possibly even that Conkeldurr on the side of Red. So definitely gonna be having an advantage there. And of course, this Bascullegion normally being a fast Pokemon, will be neutered because of this trick room having been set up. And as I see here in their team sheet, that Basculegion is Swift Swim. So the rain working against Pong right now for that Basculegion. So that's very problematic. That Dragon Pulse being able to take out the Kangaskhan, however, the Basculegion itself was knocked out. So right now, Rennie in the driver's seat, sending out his Charizard. Why? But and because of the Trick Room, the Politoed was not able to set up its Drizzle since there was already rain in place, and so the Charizard, being the faster Pokemon outside of Trick Room, was able to use its Drought to set up the Sun. So on the part of Rennie, he's won the Weather War essentially, considering that there are only 2 more Pokemon left on the side of Pong. And of course, that Politoed being knocked out from the Thunderbolt from the Ferrogiraffe. So right now, you can't help but feel that barring any possible miracle critical hits, Rennie has just won this. Especially there, the Charizard has survived and will be launching out a Weather Ball. I believe that should... Oh no, it doesn't take out the Archaludon, but does drop it down to 13% HP. And in the face of 3 Pokemon, you just can't help but feel that Pong has already lost this. And he does indeed save us the time and skips game 1 in favor of Rennie by forfeiting. So we'll be going into game 2 now. So, reviewing the teams, so they're both essentially MA format teams. They're both probably trying to hide their secret sauce, or just maybe not interested in the new additions in the MB format. But nonetheless, taking into consideration the teams they have right now, you can't help but feel that Pong definitely is on the problematic end, considering that Rennie has access to Trick Room, and that Basculegion and Frostlass, being very fast Pokemon, do not work normally because of that. Considering, Trick Room reverses the speed order of Pokemon, making the usually slowest Pokemon moving first instead. So here we are in game number 2, and it's underway. And Rennie showing us that he has that gold medal achievement with the Torkoal, showing that he is indeed a Torkoal professor. So we see here the Frostlass and Archaludon lead on the side of Pong, and the Kangaskhan plus Charizard for Rennie. So that Frostlass is not in the safe spot, considering this Kangaskhan is scrappy, and so its Fake Out will be affecting it alongside all its other normal and fighting type moves. We see here Charizard going for the Mega Evolution, but it moving before the Frostlass just indicates that this Frostlass is maybe not Mega Evolving this turn, maybe just going for the safe Protect. There we go. Probably trying to neutralize the Sun in the following turn, as we see here the safe Double Protect on the part of Pong. Scouting out what Rennie would be doing, and the Charizard does go for the Heat Wave. However, this Kangaskhan did not go for the Fake Out. Instead, goes for a low kick onto that Archaludon, going any Fake Outs. Probably predicting a rough Mega Evolution on the side of Pong. However, Pong, probably foreseeing that as well, decided to hold back. So now Pong has the opportunity to Mega Evolve his Frostlass, overriding the Sun with his own Snow Weather. And from there, he could choose. He could throw out a Blizzard, or even set up his Aurora Veil, for that matter. However, he has access to a tech move right here in his team sheet, and it's that Disable. So I wonder if that's gonna come into play here, as we see the Mega Charge is going for the safe protect. Maybe this Kangaskhan is just gonna fish out for damage. And speaking of damage, that we see some damage mitigating move in the form of that Aurora Veil coming out. So our Charizard going for the Dragon Pulse, but the Charizard taking it through the protect, and the low kick being launched out here, only dealing 24% damage. And the stamina boost does trigger, and some leftover recovery on the part of that Archaludon. So right now on the side of Pong, his Pokemon, sure, he has received 18% of damage essentially after the leftovers. However, the Aurora Veil is going to be protecting his Pokemon in terms of soaking up some damage thrown out from the side of Renny here. The Torkoal coming out, however, and overriding the Sun, making the Blizzard miss the Kangaskhan. Very clever on the side of Renny. This Torkoal eating up that Blizzard very well. Very smart move here, as Dragon Pulse is going to be thrown out onto the Torkoal, which it does indeed hang on with 60%. The Kangaskhan goes for the double edge onto that Mega Frostlass, but of course being able to tank it from the Aurora Veil buff right here. So both players trading very good turns after the other, just showing you the caliber of these two trainers right here. Pong being, of course, again, our 2024 national champion, and Renny being a two-time Worlds invitee from the Philippines, and also being recognized as one of the best players, definitely. I personally also would rank him within the top ranks of the Philippines. Maybe even the top 5 if given the chance to, write the players down on paper. But at the very least, he is within my personal top 10 players. So we see here the Torkoal going for the safe protect, and the Frostlass going for a disable. Will that come into factor here? Will the Kangaskhan go for another double edge here, as the Torkoal just protect against that, and the double edge being disabled is unable to be used here for the Kangaskhan. So no damage being thrown out here on both sides, but you can't help but feel both sides are losing out in some way. With on the side of Pong, you're losing out turns of your Aurora Veil, and on the side of Renny, that Archaludon has almost entirely recovered back to full HP from the leftover recovery. So yeah, both sides losing out in some way. However, we see the Mega Frostlass coming back in for the Politoed, probably to just override the Sun and ensure that Torkoal isn't able to throw out any strong damage. But we see a switch out on the side of Renny for that Furry Giraffe to prevent any priority moves. However, there being none here, that wouldn't be taken into consideration, as the Rain does bolster this Electro Shot, saving it a one turn charge up and being able to throw out a boosted electric type attack onto that Furry Giraffe. The Citrus Berry being able to give back some recovery, and that Politoed not being the heaviest of Pokemon, and also coupled with the Aurora Veil taking that low kick very well. So there's 4 more turns of Rain having been swapped in, and this is the last term of Aurora Veil on the side of Pong. So if you're looking on both ends of this spectrum, Renny has revealed all his Pokemon. Pong has yet to reveal one Pokemon. However, Pong is winning out in terms of the damage war here. However, we see a possible bolster in damage again with that Helping Hand. The Fire Giraffe goes for the Protect, and Renny has been calling all these Protects on that side. Will Pong fall for it again? And he does. He does again. He's always fallen for that Protect in that spot. I wonder what's going on here. Nonetheless, however, the Charizard being fresh here, Aurora Veil having been expired, we'll have to see. We'll have to see that Charizard having access to its sunlight through the drought ability will be able to launch out a strong heat wave. And on the side of Pong, you can't switch in that Mega Frostlass either because it's just gonna take a powerful heat wave from a super effective move. Nonetheless, we see the switch out onto the Frostlass. I think trying to take away the sun nonetheless so that our Charizard doesn't take a full damage. But Rennie switching out that Kangaskhan here. The Weather Ball still being able to be thrown out, but this time an Ice type damage and not being able to... It's not super effective against our Charizard, of course, because it is Dragon Steel, so it's a neutral damage. And the Dragon Pulse is thrown out into the Kangaskhan. Another life leftover recovery onto the Archaludon. So because of that, it's going to be able to tank one more Weather Ball from the Charizard. So we'll have to see here because it's a bit of a prediction game now. Because that Kangaskhan could fake out the Frostlass and that Charizard could just attack the Archaludon. But Rennie opts not to do that. Instead, he switches out to the Torkoal. Probably going to throw out a Heat Wave here, boosted by the Sun. The Frostlass going for the Protect, wanting to scout out what's gonna happen here, also trying to prevent a fake out, and the Archaludon does the same here. So Pong just going for the safer play, and on the side of Rennie, trying to gamble that offense. And now, that gamble is going to be problematic because that Politoed can now switch in the spot of the Frostlass, lowering Fire-type moves, and allowing Archaludon to throw out another Electro Shot, bypassing its charge-up turn. So right now, Pong not only is winning the damage war between the two trainers, but in terms of tempo, he is slightly ahead here, as we do indeed see this Frostlass being switched out, of course, for the Politoed as priorly mentioned right here. So, Torkoal being switched out, very fair play on the side of Pong, probably preserving it to override the Rain, and the Charizard just opting for the Protect here to prevent any possible Electro Shots being aimed towards it. The question is, however, if Pong predicts that and just shoots the damage onto the Kangaskhan. However, if he does that, the Torkoal could easily just be swapped in, overriding the Rain move. However, it does go for the Charizard, which just protected. Right now, that Archaludon, I believe, is at +2 defense and special attack. As we see here, all other Pokemon still being fresh in their stat boosts and no changes for that matter. But the weather is currently at rain, so if you are on the side of Rennie, you'll definitely want to switch in that Torkoal if you're going to want to deal significant damage from the Charizard. However, doing that means your Kangaskhan isn't using Fake Out to essentially neuter that Politoed slot. And this Archaludon, it is threatening everything because it's already at +2. So we'll have to wait and see here. Torkoal is coming back out here to override the weather. Archaludon going for the Protect. Let's see what the Politoed goes for. Does it also go for a Protect? And it doesn't. So the Charizard just straight up goes for the Solar Beam, definitely targeting that Politoed. But I think on the side of Pong, this is acceptable. Oh, but it does hang on! The Politoed hangs on! So Politoed, of course, being one of the specially... Oh, and it has access to Rain Dance! What's such a very good play on the side of Pong right here. So right now, Rennie is pinned here because of that. So, of course, switching out that Torkoal because you want to be able to reset that Rain later on. And the Charizard just, of course, going for the safe Protect here. But that Archaludon is free to go for another Electro Shot. It's now at +3, and of course, it's gonna get another leftover recovery. Will it go for the Charizard, or will it go for the Kangaskhan this time around? And it goes for the Charizard, but the Politoed, of course, does throw out its Weather Ball onto the Torkoal slot. Finally, getting a knockout in this game too. There is only 9 minutes left, so we'll have to wait and see how that fares. And Rennie having 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on his part, whereas Pong has 4 minutes and 23 seconds. So these trainers virtually having close to the same timer left on both parts. So Rennie switching in his Farigiraf. I wonder why, because you could have easily just swapped in the Torkoal to override the rain right now. I wonder why he did that play, because he basically just wasted one turn of just doing it outright. But the Weather Ball does go onto the Archaludon here, and it takes it out. I think that's a critical hit. Was it a critical hit or no? Oh, it's not a critical hit. But we see the Rain Dance just being thrown out here to override the weather. Unfortunately, that's not gonna matter since the Archaludon has already fallen. But if the Basculegion comes out now, which it does indeed, as I just called, Rennie isn't looking too good right now. So, reason being, this Basculegion could easily just go for a water type move onto that Torkoal slot or even the Charizard spot. However, the Charizard could just easily protect, as we've previously seen the pattern on the side of Red. So the Torkoal coming out, in place the Farigiraf in, and the Charizard does indeed go for that protect. And the Basculegion's Waterfall hitting the Charizard. And the Politoed throwing out a Weather Ball onto this Farigiraf. Will it be enough? No, it will not. So there's 19% health left onto that Farigiraf right there. And right now you can't help but feel that what's going to happen right now, because on the side of Rennie, you have to switch out that Farigiraf for the Torkoal if you want that Charizard to be doing any significant damage. Especially these are two water types in front of it. Nonetheless, the Basculegion is holding a Focus Sash, so one shot will not be enough to take out the Basculegion. But Pong choosing to switch out the Politoed for the Frostlass, he probably just wants it to go down from that Charizard so that he can switch it back in. Solar Beam being thrown out here. Who is it going to be going into? It is the Basculegion, which hangs on at 1% HP. And what does the Basculegion probably go for here? If it's a waterfall, it will be neutralized because of the sun. However, it goes for the flip turn onto the Charizard, so it will switch out to the Politoed. Again, this weather war is proving quite a challenge for both players. Logic might have wanted to bait the E-Shot. Yeah, that's very possible. That's true, that's true. He probably wanted to bait it. However, the Archaludon already being at a significant special attack boost at that point. I believe it was +3 already. I don't think you would have really expected it anymore. The Archaludon could just safely throw out Dragon Pulses. However, that's a fair prediction. It's a fair one at that. Nonetheless, here we are. The Politoed wins the weather war for the time being, and the Torkoal being switched out again for that Farigiraf. Rennie truly wanting to preserve it. I'm sure he's gonna go for a protect. No! He doesn't protect the Charizard this time. The Charizard eating a Blizzard under rain. Wow, what a risky play there. It could have missed. The Charizard going for the Weather Ball. Will this be enough to take out the Frostlass? Yes, it is enough. The Politoed definitely going for a Weather Ball onto the Charizard. Oh no, it does not. It goes for the Icy Wind. And it does connect. And dropping that speed right there. So, there's a question right now. Will that Politoed outspeed this Charizard now, considering it's down to -1, and at the same time the Basculegion coming back in against that Torkoal. So that Icy Wind, of course, we're not sure if the Politoed will outspeed this Charizard because we're not sure of the EVs on the Politoed. However, we did see that Charizard outsped the Basculegion outside of Rain. So, because of the Icy Wind, without a doubt, I'm sure this Basculegion will be outspeeding the Charizard now and threatening it. And then that Politoed is of course faster than the Torkoal. So, on the side of Rennie, you can't help but feel a sense of dread because the Basculegion could just safely attack the Charizard and the Politoed safely attacking the Torkoal. We see the Protect on the Torkoal and the Last Respects of course being a safe play to take out that Charizard right here. So it wouldn't be a surprise if we saw a forfeit on the side of Rennie, considering that Pong has won this long fought out war over the weather. Rennie does indeed, of course, win the weather war, as Denmark says in the comments. However, he did lose the battle. So we'll be going to a game 3 right now. So counting this match that we're spectating, there are 5 matches remaining. So players have completed their games for the most part. There's still being 19 minutes out, soon to be a little bit under time left for this round. We see Rennie leading with the Charizard and Kangaskhan leads. Again, I believe he led that a while ago, and we see the Frostlass and Archaludon both being led out. So, no Mega Evolutions happening right now. I think Rennie has learned his lesson to just, wait a bit, wait one turn. And Pong, of course, going for the safe Protect because he's fearing that fake out from the Kangaskhan. What does the Charizard go for? A Heat Wave? Yes, we see that. So, we'll have to see now what they go for turn number 2. I think this is really much of a guessing game right now, especially it is game 3. Both trainers taking their time to decide their moves, of course, considering it is game 3 and this is a tough match between 2 masters of the game and 2 of the highly respected players in the Philippine community. And we see here the Frostlass going for the Mega Evolution. Does Rennie call it? Does he go for his own Mega Evolution with the Charizard to override the snow warning from that Mega Frostlass? Indeed, he does. So the Mega Charizard will be winning the weather war for this turn, bringing out the harsh sunlight from that drought. You can't help but fear that Heat Wave is going to hurt here, but the Disable goes off! The Disable goes off. That Heat Wave cannot be used this turn, and Heat Wave is disabled. What a play from Pong! The Dragon Pulse is going into the Kangaskhan. It deals 40% damage. What does this Kangaskhan go for? It goes for a low kick onto the Archaludon. But of course, Archaludon, contrary to its image, looking like a heavy Pokemon, takes that very well. Only 34% of damage, but being healed from the leftovers and getting that one boost of stamina and defense. So the Kangaskhan won't be dishing out the same amount of damage to it now. But the highlight here is that Charizard. That Charizard A, the Disable, was, stopped. You can't help but respect Pong for that. What a play! What a play from Pong. So right now, Pong has the tempo, and on the side of Ren, you can't help but switch that Charizard out because the only thing you can do now is Weather Ball and Solar Beam, right? However, that Weather Ball is still looking pretty good here if you think about it, because it does hurt. It's single target damage and it's Sun boosted. However, Frost is switching out. Do we see the Politoed? Yes, we do. So any Weather Balls will not be super effective here on the side of Pong. But Rennie calling that. He switches out his Kangaskhan for the Torkoal. Will he be throwing out a Weather Ball onto that Archaludon? Yes, he does. So both players playing out of their minds here, predicting left and right. So we'll have to see where this ultimately ends up. What a play, what a play. I'm glad that we were able to spectate this amazing match between two masters of this game. So, both sides not wanting to give it. This is just supposed to be a casual tournament, but we're seeing such high-level plays being executed. Exactly, Denmark. I just said it. Jinx. Oh, the Archaludon does get hit with the powerful Weather Ball. Sun boosted taking out that Archaludon. I think this Polito just goes for a ring dance here. So, the Torkoal not being able to do a strong fire-type damage. Heat Wave, and I think it misses, yeah. So, still, there is a knockout. And, of course, the Basculegion does come back in. On the side of Rennie, I personally think that Torkoal is gonna be swapped out this time, based on the pattern that Rennie has been playing by, and then that Charizard is just going to go for the safe protect, and then Rennie could just shuffle the Sun back in the following turn. So yes, indeed, we see here the Venusaur coming back out as predicted, and the Charizard just going for the protect. And that Venusaur making its new appearance in this battle and taking quite a bit from that waterfall. That does hurt, and of course the Icy Wind. Probably trying to ensure the Charizard does get slower outside of the Sun, and the Venusaur tanking both hits. However, its speed is dropped. It's, I believe it is holding a Focus Sash. I'll have to check right now to ensure. Yes, no, that Venusaur is holding a Wide Lens, so sleep and has access to Sleep Powder, so more accurate Sleep Powders for that matter, but the Venusaur does switch out to the Torkoal, bringing the Sun back out. Solar Beam is being thrown out. Basculegion is the target, I believe, but because of that Focus Sash, it does hang on. What does the Basculegion go for this turn? Does it go for a Waterfall? And if so, onto who? Oh, it goes onto the Torkoal, dealing 31% of damage, 69 HP left on that Torkoal. Oh, but the Icy Wind! The Icy Wind going off on the Charizard. So, this Basculegion is now faster than the Charizard, based on the patterns we've seen so far. The question is, what will Pong do about it? Because on the side of Ren, you could just easily protect that Charizard. Or you could also, as well just switch it out. You'll just reset the weather later with that Charizard, and at the same time, its speed drop is also reset with that switch out. So, Rennie having the slight advantage right now, for that matter. Charizard, of course, going for the safe protect, and the Kangaskhan coming back in. But a flip turn being played out from the Basque Legion. The Frostlass will be coming back in. Let's see what this Polito does go for. Oh, it does go for a Rain Dance, however. But I can't help but feel that it doesn't really matter, because that Kangaskhan could just easily switch in now for the Torkoal and launch a powerful Heat Wave, damaging that Frostlass. But we'll have to wait and see. This weather war is intense. Rennie being able to constantly shuffle the sun back in. And then on the side of Pong, he has two weather setters, one of which having access to Rain Dance to, you know, reset the rain. So this is such a classical weather war between these two players. The Torkoal avoids the Blizzard. And it does just go onto the Charizard, which takes it pretty well. There will be no freezes, however, because under sunlight, freezes cannot happen. Weather Ball being tanked as well by the Charizard from the sun. So on the side of Rennie, he has he's won the weather war, and at the same time he is able to push further after that initial tug of war over the tempo of this game. Politoed, of course, eating its Citrus Berry, able to climb back up to 56% here. Kangaskhan being switched in, probably predicting a target onto it, but the Kangaskhan avoids the Blizzard as well as the Torkoal. The Politoed, of course, setting up the rain again here, and Torkoal throwing out the Weather Ball, so still gonna deal a decent amount of damage onto that Frostlass. It does hurt, however, that Blizzard did miss both targets. Fake out onto the Politoed, preventing it. Weather Ball going into the Frostlass. So protect, cancelling that out. Politoed still being able to survive. So now we have to wait and see what the Frostlass opts to go for here. It only has actually one damaging move after looking back at the team sheet in the form of that Blizzard, which is unreliable considering the weather constantly being shifted to the sun right now. And Blizzard, of course, missing here onto the Kangaskhan. Does it also miss the Charizard? No! It hits the Charizard here! Oh, but Charizard hangs on with 3 HP. And the Rain Dance coming out again onto that Politoed. What does the Kangaskhan go for here, however? The Double Edge. Will that be enough? Yes, it is enough to take out the Frostlass. So now Pong down to his last 2 Pokemon, whereas Pong still has all 4. But Pong does not have any priority in moves to be able to snipe this Basque Legion down at 1%. However, he can easily set up the Sun to neutralize the Swift Swim on that Basque Legion. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Aqua Jet going on to that Charizard, but the Sun preventing that. The Weather Ball going on to the Kangaskhan, and it does take it out right here. On the side of Pong, I question the Aqua Jet because you could just easily have thrown out a Last Respects onto that Torkoal slot. And because of the chlorophyll, the Venusaur does move first, and judging by how this game has reached, unfortunately, Rennie has ultimately sealed the game because of this. So he can just safely throw his Pokemon onto that Politoed via strength in numbers, and we see here the forfeit on the Senate Pong. Very well fought from both players. Rennie, of course, coming out on top by playing a very annoying cycle of that drought present between his two fire-type Pokemon. So congratulations to him, as well as congratulations to Pong for playing out such an amazing battle. So we only have one match remaining. Right? And it is between Evan Herbacio and Christian Paul Salmingo. So let's see here. I believe they're still in game 2 right now. So we can catch it. However, the round timer is about to expire, so I wonder how this match has taken so long. Oh, the match is just concluded based on their chat, and Christian has won his match 2-0, so there's no point in watching this anymore. All matches have been concluded, so we can start with the next one. So ending the round. Preparing the next round for the players. And we are now at round 3. So I'm looking for a match that we can spectate, and I have found one. We'll be watching the match between Indigo and Raph. This is John Tan versus Raph Ang. Indigo being a known player in the Philippine community, and Raph Ang having just recently qualified for the Pokemon World Championship through the Philippine Master Ball League of this year, which is the equivalent of our nationals. So both players have just checked in, so I'll be waiting for their code of the match. And we just received it. So we'll be spectating from the side of Indigo on the blue side and Raph on the red side. So here we are. Indigo rocking a starter team. If you look at it, he has that Swampert, Archaludon, Pelipper, Grimmsnarl, Meowscarada, and Blaziken. And on the side of Raph, we have the ever so common duo. Actually, if you look at the whole team, this is a MA team. He has the Floette, the Charizard, the Whimsicott, the Garchomp, the Basculegion, and the Kingambit. And both players locking in immediately. So we'll have to see here what each player has done or brought to this battle. We see the Whimsicott and the Floette coming out against a Grimmsnarl and Blaziken. Let me check. I believe this should be a Mega Blaziken. Indeed it is. It is a Blaziken holding the Blazikenite. So it has access to Mega Evolution, whereas the Grimmsnarl is holding that new Light Clay being added to the game. Not a new item, just being a newly added item. And of course, Grimmsnarl himself, also just recently being included into Pokemon Champions for the MB format. So definitely on the side of Indigo, you can expect a safe screen here. And that Blaziken having speed boost could protect for this turn because that Whimsicott also has Tailwind, but it does put it into a bad position of possibly being the subject of an Encore, which Raph's Whimsicott does have. The Floette going for the Mega Evolution, and there being no Protect on the side of Indigo. However, the Grimmsnarl going for the parting shot onto that Mega Floette, neutering its special attack by 1 stage. So, the Grimmsnarl does get to switch out. Who does it switch out to is the question. And it's the Pelipper. Oh, the Blaziken goes for the Flare Blitz. Despite the weather being switched to rain, does a significant amount. However, because of that rain as well, it does hang on. Nonetheless, the Whimsicott is holding a Focus Sash upon checking, so it wouldn't matter. A Moonblast being thrown out to the Pelipper, and it's a knockout. Of course, that Moonblast being boosted by the Fairy Aura, which is the reason why. And the Floette goes for Dazzling Gleam here. Because it is a single target, it will be doing full damage, and with that critical hit, ensuring that it does take down that Blaziken. So we see a Swampert and the Grimmsnarl, Indigo, down to his last 2 Pokemon. However, this Swampert, I believe, is a Mega Swampert. So yes, it is holding the Swampertite and should be able to, launch very fast attacks here. Whimsicott going for the Safe Protect, and the Floette going for a Protect itself. Probably wanting to scout out what is going to be used here. The Light Screen from the Grimmsnarl coming back out, and the Whimsicott, the Swampert going for the Wave Crash. I honestly don't like this play. Sure, on the side of Raph, you are stalling out the turn of the rain. However, at this point, you'd still just want to throw out some damage, considering that Grimmsnarl is forced to use the screen here in order to try and claw this game back. And it does throw out the Moonblast, which does significant damage. super effective and also boosted by the Fairy Aura. Oh, the Light of Ruin though! It's being thrown out of the Grimmsnarl. It will take it out. And I believe the Floette will be taking some recoil from that. Very good play from the side of Rap. 25% recoil, and the Wave Crash, of course, going onto that Floette. And I think the Floette has already served such a great purpose here. It took out that Grimmsnarl in the late game. Sure, Light Screen was able to set up, but that Floette was at -1. And now, we are down to the last turn of Rain. And of course, it's the Basque Legion on the part of Raph. So, the Basque Legion threatening with the Last Respect. So, yeah, it's very much possible to just protect this turn to stall out the Rain, to ensure that the Swampert cannot outspeed the Basque Legion anymore. But no, Raph says no, I don't care about the Rain, I'll just set up my own Tailwind. But the Swampert still goes first with the Earthquake. It takes out the Whimsicott, does not take out the Basque Legion, leaving it at 51%. And if that Basque Legion has, oh no, it does opt for the Wave Crash, which is a neutral hit onto the Swampert. And because of that adaptability, the Rain and its Mystic Water that it's holding, it takes it out in one shot. So congratulations on the side of Raph here, taking game 1. So we'll be moving on to game 2 shortly, but right now you just can't help but feel that that dual fairy lead was so oppressive against Indigo. So we see here Raph leading with the same set, the dual fairy, and then on the side of Indigo, leading a different type of leads this time, trading one starter for another with that Meowscarada taking the field, and then also that Archaludon standing right next to it. So the Archaludon, of course, being Dragon Steel, will not take super effective attacks from the fairies. However, it does threaten a super effective Steel damage onto the Floette and the Whimsicott in the form of the Flash Cannon. The Meowscarada, however, of course, being faster than the Floette, does threaten it. So we'll have to wait and see how that fares out. But there is nothing on the side of Indigo that he can do to stop a Whimsicott setting up the Tailwind. So, yeah, it's looking like this Floette can just easily throw out its own Dazzling Gleam this turn to deal a significant amount of damage. And the Meowscarada, of course, holding a Focus Sash, will survive any hit from that Floette. But the Whimsicott did not go for the Tailwind and gets punished for it, with that Meowscarada launching a triple axle to take it out. All 3 hits hitting it. And so I can't help but feel like that was such a risky play on the side of Raph. You would have wanted to set up that Tailwind because you know that the other side has access to Swift Swim, Mega Swampert. And right now, the special defense drop is terrible. However, nonetheless, it is not looking great for Raph. Indigo having made a very good adjustment, and on the side of Raph making a bad call for that part. He could have just gone for the safe Tailwind. Nonetheless, the Basque Legion takes the field now, and we'll have to wait and see how this turns out. However, the Meowscarada's sash is still intact, so it will be able to tank one more hit. It is now an Ice type because of that Protean, and the new Protean mechanic is the typing will not change until it is switched out. Floette going for its own Protect to match, and our Chaladon also going for Protect, probably trying to fish out what this Basque Legion is trying to go for. And it does indeed reveal the last respect. More HP is recovered for our Chaladon. It's back up to 32%. The Flower Trick does go out onto that Floette. Flower Trick always being a critical hit. He does lose the stab because of the Protean type change, but that is enough considering the Floette has already received some damage. Last Respect is being thrown out to Meowscarada, but again, as we previously mentioned, the Sash will keep it alive, especially despite that critical hit. Dragon Pulse being thrown out here to the Basque Legion and just does under 50% damage. So, this Arch Chaladon is sitting pretty nicely here, getting some recovery. I believe there's 3 turrets already worth of recovery from the leftovers. Right here, the Meowscarada is in a bit of a dire strait because Short can throw out that triple axle out of the Garchomp. However, after the first hit, it will fall because of the rough skin. And then that Arch Chaladon would be staring down both the Basque Legion and Garchomp here. But you can't help but feel the situations are now reversed. Oh, but the Aqua Jet does go out, trying to take out the Meowscarada before it could even dish out any damage to that Garchomp. And the Garchomp throws at the Dragon Claw, which is not enough! You've forgotten that it received a prior stamina boost, so it should tank that. And the Arch Chaladon just goes for the Dragon Pulse. I think that's enough to take out the Garchomp. No! It hangs on with 1 HP, but we just saw that it's holding a Life Orb, so the next attack that Garchomp does throw out will be its last. We see the Swampert coming out here. I can't help but feel that this Arch Chaladon is just going to be simply swapped out for the Pelipper, and the Mega Swampert will just throw out an Earthquake. Oh, but no, it does not. Instead, he opts for the Protect. He probably wants to just leave this Arch Chaladon in, wanting that Garchomp to be taken out by its own Life Orb, which it does right now here. We're just waiting for the animation to happen as our Chaladon gets another stack of stamina because of that hit. So now it is a 3 versus 1, and that Basque Legion throws a last respect onto the Swampert that calls it. Okay, to save us time, Raph himself has surrendered, so we'll be moving into game number 3 between the players. Let's check on over here to the stream chat. Hello, Jared. Hello. We from Jackson. He loves Indigo. That was a crazy play by Indigo. Yes, Indigo did play back to grab game number 2. It's actually a mirrored match if you think about it, because Raph overwhelmed Indigo, and then Indigo in turn overwhelmed Raph. So we'll have to see here the adjustment on both sides. Did both sides learn enough? Will Indigo press on the pressure from the momentum, having won game 2, or will Raph prevail, having adjusted and learned from his mistakes of game number 2? Because for me, it was that turn number 1 that really caused such a huge snowball effect towards his own defeat. So we see the dual fairy again, and the Archaladon and Meowscarada. So the same leads as game 2. The question is, will these players do the same thing as in game 2? We'll have to wait and see. We see some supporters of Indigo in the chat, so we'll have to give them a shout out for that. And thank you, Matthew Chua, for just subscribing to the channel just now. So Fluette goes for its Mega Evolution, bringing up that Mega form, and the Fairy Aura, and Whimsicott now goes for that Tailwind. And the Fluette goes for the Line of Ruin. It's gonna take out that Archaladon, yes! Archaladon falls. Archaladon falls from that Line of Ruin. 25. Oh, from the recoil. The recoil is more Flower Trick going on to that Fluette. 1 for 1. However, not looking good. Not looking good for Raph here, because he traded his Mega for a non-Mega Pokemon. That trade doesn't seem too well off. I think a Dazzling Gleam would have been better there. That Line of Ruin was pretty risky if you ask me. This Meowscarada is also threatening that Garchomp with the triple axle. Sure, it will not have access to Protean, but you know, it is extremely effective. But no, the Meowscarada opts to switch out to the Pelipper. This Swampert most likely going to Mega Evolve and take advantage of that. Hello, Chocopao. Yes, pwede to sa PC. Hindi. Sa cellphone, pwede naman. The Garchomp going for the Dragon Claw onto the same target, but because of the Citrus Berry, the Pelipper hangs on. What does this Swampert go for? It goes for the Wave Crash because of its huge base attack stat and the rain, and you know, Wave Crash being Wave Crash, it does take out the Garchomp. Unfortunately, I think that's gonna look like it seals the game, but not unless this Basculegion has something to say about it. Because the Swampert took some recoil, it's now down to 59% of HP. It's very possible that Raph could claw this game back from there. Because, as we all remember, Last Respects does get stronger the more Pokemon are knocked out. It's at base 50, if I remember correctly. And because 2 Pokemon have fallen, it's now at 150 base power. Plus, of course, the Stab. 1.5 from the Basculegion. But it is, of course, adaptability. So the Stab will be doubled. So that will be a 300 base powered Last Respect. Right now, should he use to throw it? And the Whimsicott throwing out the Moonblast, securing the knockout on the Pelipper, and we see no Protect on that Swampert. I don't think it's gonna be able to survive anything from... Oh, but it moves first! It moves before the Basque Legion. However, the Whimsicott does tank the Wave Crash, being resistant to it. And it goes for the Last Respect. Trying to preserve its own HP, not going for the Wave Crash. So right now, it's a 2 versus 1. It's just the Meowscarada. It's 2 versus 1 right now. The Meowscarada is holding that Focus Sash. So, a bit of a tight spot here. Especially since Raph does have 1 turn of Tailwind left. So his Whimsicott and Basque Legion will still be moving before this Meowscarada. And Moonblast does go off. There being no protects being thrown out. This Meowscarada should fall. The Basque Legion being able to outspeed it. So well played on the part of Raph. And still respects to Indigo for having dragged this game to game number 3 and fought well for that match. So let's see if there are any other matches we can spectate. We can spectate Ad Sancho versus Josh Fernandez. This is Goda. So 2, 3, 8, 3, 6, 3, 1, 2. They're currently in game number 2, unless I'm mistaken. So let's spectate. Oh, looks like the game is just about to end. So we'll be watching their game number 3. Sorry, no, we will not. Will we still be watching game number 3? Yes. It's a 1 win each for them. Okay, so here we are. On the side of Goda, he has a rain team as well in his own. He has the Swampert, the Basque Legion, the Archaludon, Pelipper, Clefable, and Sinistra. And then on the side of Ads, he has the Sand Core instead in the form of an Excadrill, Tyranitar, Staraptor, Hydreigon, Rotom Wash, and Riku. So that Clefable right here being threatened by that Excadrill because of course Steel types are super effective against Fairies. And the Swampert in itself won't be able to do anything against that Rotom Wash because Rotom having the access to the ability to levitate won't get hit by any of the ground type moves from Mega Swampert or Swampert in general. And also because it is also part water, it won't get hit as hard from the water moves of Swampert. But those moves just previously mentioned will be hitting super effective onto that Excadrill. And Excadrill, their own steel moves won't be super effective against the Swampert because it is of course water type. The Rotom, however, opting to go for the Protect. I wonder why. The Waterfall hitting this Excadrill down to its Focus Sash. I wonder why that Rotom still went for the Protect though. It was in such a nice position to just, easily throw out some damage in whatever way. Swampert opting to go for the Protect. But because of the Sinistra switching in, it does recover some health for it. And then it does also call the Will-O-Wisp. So that was such a good play on the part of Goda. The Gacha being the finishing move to take out that Excadrill and dealing a lot of damage onto that Rotom. So because of Gacha's effect, it was able to recover pretty well. Tyranitar coming in. That Rotom is pretty huge if you think about it. It's really big, standing next to, floating rather next to the Tyranitar. So right now it's a 4 versus 3. Goda has the strength in numbers. But on the side of ads, you gotta think, what's your answer to this Mega Swampert? Because Tyranitar is not a good call for it. And speaking of the Swampert, it just comes back in as the Tyranitar goes for its Mega Evolution. What does the Sinistra go for, however? Probably its own Rage Powder. Oh, but the Rotom goes for a Thunderbolt onto the spot which the Mega Swampert has come in. So it doesn't affect it. The Colbur Berry reducing the damage of that knockoff. Gonna be able to tank it, and I think this is gonna be another Gacha. It is indeed, and it connects to both. The question is, since it did take out the Rotom, will it burn this Tyranitar? Critical hit on the Rotom, I don't think that mattered too much. But let's see if it will burn this Tyranitar. If it does, it's gonna be such a painful thing for ads to deal with. No, there's no burns. So thankfully for the part of ads, he doesn't have to deal with that RNG. And his last Pokemon does come out. It is the Hydreigon. However, it's still a 4 versus 2. On the side of Goda, he could easily just switch out this Sinistcha to the Pelipper to remove the rain and ensuring the Swampert is going to be the fastest thing on the field. He still, however, goes for the double protect, probably fishing out what Abs would do with that Hydreigon, especially because it is holding the Choice Scarf, so it can only use one move. So as you can see here, Ads has burned more of his battle timer than Goda. It just goes to show who that Ads is in a bit of a tighter spot this game compared to Goda, since this Mega Swampert seems almost like it has there's no way to answer it. Tyrant goes for the protect, but in essence, does Goda call that? What else can it do, however, in the face of this Mega Swampert? Dark Pulse indeed comes out. It will take that Sinistcha down, and I think it's gonna be a safe Pelipper switch in because of it. What does this Mega Swampert go for, however? Goes for the Waterfall onto the Tyranitar, probably wanting to turn this into an ultimate Clefable versus Hydreigon game. So, yeah, Pelipper does come out. Sand is now removed, and this Mega Swampert is now the fastest thing on the field despite that Choice Scarf on the Hydreigon. Yeah, since Choice Scarf is 1.5 boosted in speed and Swift Swim doubles the speed, and given the speed stats of both Pokemon, I believe Mega Swampert would be the fastest thing on the field now. As it is indeed, and Waterfall under the rain boost will take that Tyranitar out. So now it's a 3 versus 1. Against this Hydreigon, which is locked to Dark Pulse. No flinch shenanigans here because the Mega Swampert just moved, and Weather Ball from the Pelipper is just thrown out onto this Hydreigon to deal whatever chip damage it could. We see a forfeit from Ads here. Goda taking game 3. So we only have 2 more matches left. Oh no, sorry, 1 more match because this match of Ads and Goda was concluded. The last match again is Christian, but I think the game just finished. Yeah, they just reported game number 3. So we'll be going into round 4 now. Okay, so we can end the round. We're actually slightly ahead of schedule. So here next round. So now we will be spectating the match of Josh Lau versus Patrick Tayan. So that is Catercoo versus Speed. These 2 players are currently undefeated at 3-0. So we're just waiting for the players to set up right now. Waiting for their room to be created. So here we are. Both players are currently at 3 wins and 0 losses. Katarku rocking that Annihilate, which was just added in the MV format. King Gambit, Sylveon, Furry Giraffe, Charizard, and Garchomp. Mostly an MA team. And then on the side of speed, we have these are newly added Pokemon in the form of the Staraptor, which is mostly Mega Staraptor, most likely Mega Staraptor, Mega Swampert, Whimsicott, Archaludon, Pelipper, and the king of VGC himself, Incineroar. So here we are. Both players are currently undefeated in tonight's Tyrant Thursday, number 1. Speed opting to lead with his Whimsicott and Staraptor, and then Katarku leading with the Fire Giraffe and Sylveon. This isn't looking so great for Speed. Why is that? Because this Staraptor cannot close combat that Sylveon because it will resist it. And because Staraptor does turn into a fighting type, it becomes weak to the pixelated hyper voice from a Sylveon. Nonetheless, it's also very possible that Speed could just side charm his Mega Staraptor, which has the ability contrary, so any stat changes are reversed, and because Charm drops the attack stat by 2, instead it will be boosting Staraptor's attack by 2 stages, which essentially doubles it. So it's possible this Staraptor could throw out a +2 attack stat boosted Brave Bird onto that Sylveon, but the Sylveon nonetheless goes for the safe detect. Does Speed call that? Does he call it? Does he just go for this Furry Giraffe? He could just go for a close combat on it. No. Instead, Katarku calls it and he sets up Trick Room. This does not look good on the side of Speed. Nonetheless, Whimsicott on the side of Speed has access to Fake Tears. He could Fake Tears his Staraptor so that it could get double boosted special defense, but this Sylveon is going to be hitting it hard with a Hyper Voice boosted from Pixelate and Fairy Feather, and it does have access right now upon checking to Hyper Beam, so that could all just go to waste. It could go to waste on the side of Speed if the damage counts don't add up on his part. Nonetheless, he still goes for it because it's the only play that's possibly good given his situation. And the Sylveon doesn't want to risk going for the Hyper Beam. Instead, goes for the safe Hyper Voice, boosted by Pixelate, and Psychic onto the Staraptor. It stays up because of that Fake Tears. This Staraptor probably gonna go for a Brave Bird onto the Sylveon in order to take it out. It's a 1-for-1 trade. However, if you're looking at it from the perspective of Katarku, it is super worth it because you took out the Mega Pokemon and all you did was give up a Sylveon, which already did such a very good job in soaking all that damage and also dealing 1 Pixelated Fairy Feather boosted Hyper Voice. So right now things are not looking so good for speed, given that. But nonetheless, we are still under the third turn of Trick Room, and Annihilate coming in for that Sylveon, and the Archaludon coming in for that Megastar Raptor. Caliper being switched in here for that Whimsicott, probably so that the Electro Shot could be thrown out. Yes, indeed it is. Who does it target, however? I would assume it should just go to that Annihilate to deal out some significant amount of damage. No, yes it does. So it does. Annihilate hangs on with 40% and it goes for a bulk. Noteworthy is that this Annihilate is moving last under Trick Room, so that signifies that outside of Trick Room, it is faster than the Archaludon on the end of speed. So Psychic takes out that Pelipper, and Archaludon goes for another Electro Shot. I would assume it still goes to that Annihilate, ensuring the knockout. No, it goes for the Furry-Giraffe, probably calling the Protect, but the Furry-Giraffe hangs on, and because of the Citrus Berry, is able to get some recovery back. And that Annihilate throwing out such a powerful Drain Punch, because it is boosted from the earlier bulk up. Speed opting to just forfeit this game because the Whimsicott won't be able to do anything against Caterhoo, since that Furry-Giraffe is using Armored Tail as its ability, and that is essentially a different kind of Queenly Majesty, preventing the Whimsicott from using any status moves against it. Reviewing their earlier match, I can't help but feel that it was the first turn that decided the whole outcome of the game, because the Trick Room was able to be set up, that Sylveon was able to throw out a powerful Hyper Voice, and the Megastar Raptor wasn't able to snowball the game. So on the side of speed, you'd have to reconsider, will you be leading with the same thing, and if so, will you call the Detect on that Sylveon, even assuming that it is led again against him? So I think that the major thing here is that you need to preserve your Mega, or you don't have to preserve it until the game. You could just ensure that you get favorable damage trades so as you win the overall battle. So we'll have to wait and see as to the adjustments of both players. So it is the same leads. But the question is, does Speed go for the same strategy? And if so, does he target better this time? And on the side of Karaku, it's a question of mind games. Do you call Speed to do the same thing? Or do you think he's gonna do a different thing? So we see the same thing, it's a charm. But we see the protect going onto the other side and calling it. So Katarku calling it pretty well here. Such a very good play. That Sylveon has done wonders this game. And yeah, you can't help but feel that this game is a bit done for this early in the match, especially since the Sylveon has quick attack. Yeah, it will clean up that Staraptor pretty well. Psychic in turn, dealing more damage to that Whimsicott. Sylveon throwing out that Hyper Beam. It's gonna take out the Archaludon. So congratulations on the part of Katarku. That was a clean 2-0 win on their part, and he is now undefeated. So I think we can watch another game now. Who can we watch? Let's watch someone who hasn't been streamed yet. Here we can watch the game of Yop versus Leche Flan. So Yop is a player from the Negros region, Iloilo and Bacolod representation right there. He also qualified for the Pokemon World Championships this year, so it's interesting to see how well he's doing right now. Adriani Gabinete, otherwise known as Leche Flan. As far as I know, she is one of the newer members in the Philippine VGC community, and she did take game 1 against Yop. So that's something worth studying over as to how it was able to happen. But nonetheless, we're going to join them mid-match of their game number 2. Yop, he led with his Incineroar and Garchomp against a Talonflame and King Gambit. Overall, Yop also has a Metagross, an Alola Ninetales, a Raichu, and a Hisuian Zoroark. That's a questionable thing here to know whether or not one of these Pokemon is that Zoroark. However, if that Incineroar did not throw out an Intimidate, of course you know it's that. On the side of Leche Flan, she has that Raichu, that Meganium, that Mousehold, that Talonflame, that King Gambit, and lastly, a Garchomp. Pretty offensive team if you ask me. As we see here, King Gambit, or as she nicknamed it, Queen Gambit, goes for the Safe Protect, and Talonflame going for the Tailwind right here. So what happens here is the Garchomp throws at the Rock Slide. I believe that should be enough to take out the Talonflame, considering it is extremely effective. No, it is holding a Sash. And the Garchomp with the Life Orb taking 10% recoil, and the King Gambit, of course, protecting against the incoming Flare Blitz from that Incineroar. So right now, I think it's a question of whether or not this King Gambit is EV'd to outspeed the Incineroar, and at the same time, it doesn't have access to low kick, however, so it's not going to be able to do any significant damage to that Incineroar. And of course, getting the Defiant boost and throwing out that Sucker Punch, coupled with that incoming Brave Bird to that Garchomp, they'll both be able to take it out. Very good play on the part of Leche Flan, taking out the strong damage dealer such as that Garchomp with the Life Orb. However, Talonflame falls from the recoil and rough skin combination, and Flare Blitz being thrown out to that King Gambit. Will it survive? Yes, it does. 19%. Does it get burned? No burn right there. So things are looking good for Leche Flan because that King Gambit now threatens to throw out another Sucker Punch. And because of the Defiant boost, it's going to be hurting a lot, especially coupled with the fact it has black glasses. So its dark type moves are going to be hurting pretty well in her favor. And Mousehold comes out against the Alolan Ninetales. So still not looking too great. This King Gambit is threatening both Pokemon with a strong maybe Kowtow or Ironhead. Nonetheless, though, the redirection of the Mousehold should keep it safe. As we see Metagross come back out, the problem is, does that King Gambit go for a Dark type move onto the Metagross slot? No, it doesn't. It goes for the Ironhead, whereas the Incineroar will be throwing the Flare Blitz out. The Flare Blitz from the Incineroar taking out that Mousehold. The question is now, will this King Gambit still be able to throw out some value despite Tailwind ending? Mega Meganium, rather it hasn't Mega Evolved yet, but definitely that is a Mega Meganium. And it is threatening that Metagross, because Mega Soul will be causing the Weather Ball to be fire damage. However, this Metagross, if it Mega Evolves, it's gonna be faster than the Meganium and will be able to throw out a strong Iron Head. Provided that King Gambit does threaten it with a +1 Sucker Punch. However, so we'll have to wait and see. So, oh, but it throws out a Bullet Punch, trying to take out the King Gambit, which survives at 1% HP, even if it's a critical hit! And the Sucker Punch will not work. Oh my goodness. And we see the King Gambit just going for the Safe Protect here. Will the Metagross go for the Bullet Punch again? Yes, it does. I believe this Meganium is gonna go for the Weather Ball now. That should take out the Metagross because of course it is boosted by the Mega Soul and super effective at that. And I think this Flare Blitz should be enough to take out the Meganium. No, it's not. Not even. It drops it only to 18%. Now it's a 2 versus 2. I believe the last Pokemon is the Ninetales, which was just sent down. So things are not looking too good here for Lecheflan because that Ninetales could just throw out a Blizzard, but she could also just go for the Safe Protect and just play the gamble about with that Blizzard possibly missing. The Blizzard does go off. It takes out the King Gambit. The Meganium does, of course, go for the Protect. However, because of that, Yop's Ninetales has access to Encore. So it's going to be able to Encore lock that Meganium. And from there, the Incineroar will be able to double up and take it out. And even if it somehow gets the double Protect, it just doesn't change anything. Both Pokemon will still be able to threaten it with damage. But we see Yop doesn't care. He just throws out a Blizzard. Sorry about that, PSN. Yes, I was typing. Shinzuki, I'm so bad at the dual battle match. It takes time. VGC is a complicated game. Nonetheless, we see here a new lead from the side of Yop, Garchomp, and Incineroar. Incineroar throws out an Intimidate onto the Talonflame. It won't matter onto that Meganium being a special attacker. Nonetheless, Lecheflan leading with that Meganium and the Talonflame. I think that's problematic because this Meganium hard counters Garchomp. Unless the Garchomp has Poison Jab, which I don't think it has for this set that Yop is carrying. And so the Meganium completely immune to Dragon-type moves because it is Fairy, and of course Earthquake, not Earth, or rather Ground-type moves not being good against it because of its Grass typing. So Garchomp just going for the safe protect here. I would assume the Meganium just goes for Dazzling Gleam or Solar Beam, but the Talonflame just goes for the Quick Guard expecting a fake out, but the Incineroar opts not to. Instead, it takes that Dazzling Gleam pretty well, 29% damage, and throws out its own Flare Blitz. Oh, and I think that's a critical hit. Yes, it is. The HP dropped too much. That's so unfortunate on the side of Lecheflan. The Incineroar taking out the Mega Pokemon on the side of Lecheflan right here in turn 1 of game 3. What a punishing turn of events. Talonflame going for the Brave Bird, not doing too much because of course it's intimidated, and Incineroar being bulky in itself. No, I'm not. I'm just checking some of my other chats and then answering everyone at the same time. And at the same time, you know, feeling a bit sleepy and tired because I've had a bit of a long day. So, yeah, and I've also just come back from my hiatus from VGC. So, the stamina is not quite there yet, so forgive me. But going back into this match, we see them, it's down to a 2 versus 4 in favor of Yop. So, that mouse hold is the only thing keeping that King Gambit alive. But the Garchomp could easily just go for an Earthquake. Does it have access to Earthquake, however? I'll have to check now. No, it has no access to Earthquake. Its only spread move is Rock Slide. So we'll have to see. No, but Yop opts to switch out. Probably wanting to preserve it. So he sends in the Ninetales. What does the... Oh, the King Gambit goes for Protect, however. Super Fang being launched onto the Garchomp slot so that Ninetales saves it, and Flare Blitz is the move of choice, which is soaked up through by the Protect of that King Gambit. Oh, and my game has frozen. Of all times. We're gonna have to redo this all over again. I apologize with my stream setup. Give me a second. We're back. Thankfully it was a quick fix. Anyway, the mouse hold I think has fallen in, and the Ninetales also in turn. Nonetheless, this Queen Gambit, or King Gambit rather, uh, only at 1% HP, so the Bullet Punch should be enough to seal the deal. So, unless Yop makes a mistake, a careless mistake, but even so, the Incineroar is also present right here to finish this. So just checking the other matches that we could see, but nonetheless, this game is already a lost cause if you ask me. The Incineroar switching out, I think that wasn't necessary anymore. You could have just gone for the straight double attack. This King Gambit is at 1% HP. There's no point. So congratulations to Yop for taking his 4th round win. I believe that was just game 3, so the match is over. So let's check. All matches are done now. That's great. Okay, so that was the last match. We'll be moving on to the final round, round 5, and there is no top cut here, so this will be the last round for the evening. We're actually ahead of schedule, so yeah. So we'll be pairing the next round. So round number 5. So just sending it to the players. So we're entering the last round of the night, and of course we can't help but feature the 2 undefeated players that are currently at 4-0. And that is Ronald Carino and Ryan Pareja. So this is Ron versus Chocopao. Chocopao, being a semifinalist in 2025 in the Philippine Nationals, and also being able to go to Worlds that year, and this year having also just qualified again. So I can't wait to see that. And Ronald Carino, to my knowledge, seems like a familiar name. So I'll have to see how this match turns out. But nonetheless, both players are at 4-0, so I can't wait to see the result here. Okay, so we're just waiting for the room code of the players. They have the room code. So this is our last round. Both players currently at 4-0. So let's see what these players are, how these players have performed. And we see one of my favorite Pokemon on the side of Ron in the form of that Pyroar, accompanied by the Dragonite, the Whimsicott, the Sinistra, the Hisuian Zoroark, and the Sneasler. And then on the side of Chocopao, we have the Goldengo, the Hisuian Arcanine, the Dragonite, the Annihilate, the Frostlass, and the Maushold. Very interesting on both parties. They have... Oh wow, they locked in so fast! So... Ah wow, that's pretty quick. I guess both players didn't want to beat around the bush. They know what they're supposed to bring. We see here a Pyroar and a Whimsicott. However, it's possible one of them is a Hisuian Zoroark. So there's some level of mind games here if you think about it. Pyro going for the safe protect here. And then, oh, a sunny day from the Whimsicott. Wow, that neutralizes the snow warning from that Mega Frostlass. The Arcanine going for the Rock Slide. I think the Whimsicott should be able to take this pretty well since it's just a neutral hit. It does indeed. And the Frostlass just goes for the Blizzard. Is this Arcanine Scarf? Indeed, it is a choice Scarf Hisuian Arcanine, and that Blizzard having connected to the Whimsicott does take it out. So, this is still a bit of a problematic thing. Because that Rock Slide is going to be moving in very fast, the Pyroar will be taking it super effectively. So, that's very problematic in itself, because Rock Slide is also stab boosted by the Hisuian Arcanine, and we see two Pyroars now. Definitely the one on the right is the Hisuian Zoroark. So, yeah, we see two lions, Lion King in the house right here. But nonetheless, the Rock Slide from that Arcanine is going to hurt a lot. And this Frostlass doesn't have any other move that deals damage other than the Blizzard. So I would expect it to switch out, which it does indeed. The Pyro protected itself. Which Pyro was that? Oh, it's the real Pyroar. This is the Hisuian Zoroark. The question is, will it get flinched? That's a question we'll have to wait and see in a bit. Will it get flinched or will it launch an attack? It does launch an attack with the Icy Wind, so that neutralizes the Choice Scarf being held by that Arcanine. But because the Mouse Hold came in, the damage isn't so great. Because of course, the Hisuian Arcanine is already Fire type by nature, so it resists the Icy Wind. And the Mouse Hold, having access to Friend Guard, lowers any incoming damage for its allies by 25%. The Sinistcha comes in to recover some health to that Zoroark and to follow me onto the part of Mouse Hold. So another Icy Wind right here, probably wanting to slow things down even further so that the Pyro will have a better game for itself. Another Rock Slide is thrown out, and it takes out the Zoroark here through a critical hit. I would guess so, considering earlier it didn't deal that much damage. Lions, a dog, and a snow woman. Perfect Disney movie if you ask me. And the floating teacup, right? So this is just a Disney movie right here. Frostlass comes back in, resets the weather, and I would guess this Arcanine will just stick around and throw out all the rock slides that it can. As we see the Mega Pyroar coming out here on the side of Ron. And it's just gonna protect. So what is this Sinistra going to do? I believe it should just go for a Trick Room here, considering you already know the other side is faster. But let's wait and see. Sinistra drops down to exactly 50%, triggering the Citrus Berry, but it gets flinched! Oh no, that's not what you want to see if you're Ron right now. That's terrible. That's terrible. And at the same time, this Mega Frostlass is threatening the Sinistra with the Blizzard right now. Pyre goes for the Heat Wave, but Arcanine avoids it. Arcanine being able to resist Fire type moves by 4, divided by 4, but the Heat Wave hits the target it's intended to hit. So, Rock Slide, it's gonna miss. It misses the Pyroar. Oh my. Will the Sinistra will finally be able to move? Oh my goodness! It's flinched again! Chocopao being so lucky with that Rock Slide flinch. This Sinistra was flinched twice and could not do anything. So now, this Pyroar, it's gonna have to go through everything all over again. What a lucky turn of events! This Arcanine is putting in some work despite being hit by Icy Wind twice already. Heat Wave does go through. I don't think this is gonna knock anything out, however. Yeah, and the Citrus Berry on the Annihilate is triggered, and the Drain Punch onto the Pyroar is a super effective hit. So, recovers some HP. And the Rock Slide, of course, is going to be able to finish that Pyroar. The question is, will this Sinistra finally be able to move? If it doesn't, then that's just insult to injury all, but it finally does move with Machigacha. I don't think that's enough. Yeah, it's not enough. Yeah, you just forfeit at that point there, and just think, what can I do to adjust? If you're on the side of Rod, but at the same time, you also can't help but feel some sense of unfortunateness because the double Rock Slide flinch back to back was indeed very painful. Okay, so here we see the Frost as Arcanine lead again. And then on the side of Ron, he changes things up. He now leads with the Whimsicott and the Sneasler this time. So, yeah, we'll have to see. I think the Whimsicott is just gonna go for a straight up Tailwind. And the Sneasler could easily just close combat the Arcanine. But the question is, does Chocopaw call that? He switches in the Annihilate. So it's a question of whether or not Ron falls for it. The Frostlass comes out, triggering the Snow Warning for this game. And Sneasler goes for the Fake Out, and it doesn't work because it's a Ghost type, but Whimsicott goes for the Sunny Day. What does Chocopaw go for here? Let's just go for the straight up Blizzard. He does, but it misses something. It misses the Whimsicott, and it hits the Sneasler. You would have wanted to hit the Whimsicott here, not the Sneasler. well, of course, you also want to hit the Sneasler, but between the two, you'd still want to hit the Whimsicott to deal out as much damage as possible. So the Moonblast comes out, it hits the Annihilate, it survives with 30% HP, but because of the Citrus Berry, it goes back up to 55. And the Blizzard is able to hit Under the Sun, taking out that Sneasler, and a critical hit on the Whimsicott, although that doesn't matter in general because it does have a Focus Sash. And then this Annihilate should be able to take out the Whimsicott. So he uses the Rage Fist, and now it's a 2 versus 4 match. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's now Pyroar and Sinistra against the whole of Chocobo's team. He switches out the Frostlass, probably so he can reset the weather later. And that Mousehold is a perfect combination with the Annihilate. Of course, those two being an original duo, the Mouse 8 core. The Friend Guard can be able to keep the Annihilate pretty bulky for it to be soaking up 25% damage, but the Heat Wave, boosted by that new ability of Pyroar, giving a boost to Fire-type damages, and also burning the Mousehold, so the Focus Sash not gonna be useful here, as the Sinistcha goes for the Trick Room, making that Scarf Arcanine useless, and also the Frostlass, which is very fast, just as useless under this Trick Room because they're both fast mons, and Trick Room reverses the speed order of things. So what a play on the part of Ron there. So this Pyroar putting in some work. Unfortunately, if you're Chocobo, things are not looking too great because your Pokemon are both so fast. Pyro, however, goes for the Protect. Probably wants to dish out some damage first to that Arcanine, considering you don't have any good way to deal with it. The Frostas, however, is gonna still be able to do the Blizzard onto that Sinistra, which is why I'm a bit I'm questioning the choice of protecting with that Pyroar. I think if you were Ron, that was such a wasted opportunity. You could have just easily gone for an attack. So now if you're Chocobo, you could easily... Well, he can't exactly also protect either with that Arcanine. So Machagacha thankfully connects with both targets. Gets some recovery, although the Blizzard will be taking that out. Oh, but the Sinistra moves before that Pyroar? Is Tailwind up? Did I miss Tailwind? Heat Wave going through. It does take out the Frostlass. The Arcanine, however, down to 21%. The thing is, this Rock Slide is gonna be single target now. Will it be enough to take out the Pyroar? Yes, it is. So Chocobo cleans up his 5th and final round, undefeated, and with a 2-0 win in this match. No, Mega Pyro does not get Drought, it gets Fire Main. The sun came out from the Whimsicott. Let's feature a match we haven't between players we have not yet seen. So I think we can feature this one between RB Nia and Hardy Reyes. So RB being a long-time veteran of the community, he has previously, through many years ago, qualified for the Pokemon World Championships. So he is indeed a well-known player in the community, a long-time veteran. And against Hardy Reyes, this is Jace. So Jace was, I believe this is Jason Reyes, who was second place in the recent Master Ball League in the Philippines. And both players are, well, Jace has just qualified for Worlds this year, and I believe it was his first event. So he's relatively new to the game of VGC. I think they just finished their game 2. It's 1 win each. So they're entering game 3 now. Did we just go into game 2? I think this is game 2. So yeah, we can just skip this. I think they're supposed to go on their way to game 3 now. So let's try to head on over. Oh, it's still the same. I guess the match hasn't concluded yet. Or is this game 3? I don't know. Oh, that was the end. That was game 3 already. So, Jace wins his match against RB. So, are there any other matches we can possibly spectate? There is one match we could go to. Rennie versus York. I think they just entered game 3, so this would be a nice one. So we just entered game 3 with both of them. I think they just started. Oh, it is the Hisuian Zoroark, but because of the Scrappy, the fake out does go through and the Zap Cannon! It goes through the Furry Giraffe. It is a 100% paralysis chance. So the question is, will the Furry Giraffe be able to move this turn? And it does. And Trick Room goes up, and because of the paralysis, it will always be moving first. But there is that chance that it does not move, of course. But it is minimal. So right now, things are not looking too good because that Hisuian Zoroark and that Mega Raichu Y are both fast Pokemon. And you don't want to see them both under Trick Room because they're useless there. We see the Torkoal coming in, setting things up. And the Kang goes for the double edge onto the Hisuian Zoroark, taking it out. The Raichu, however, did not protect this turn. What did it go for? Does it go for another Zap Cannon? Oh, it goes for a Volt Switch onto that Torkoal, dealing so much damage. Oh, it was a critical hit. Oh, that hurts. That was 79% of damage. I think that was more than it should have. Definitely more than it should have been. But because of that critical hit, it does work wonders for Yop. It seals away a strong eruption. However, of course, Torkoal does have access to Heat Wave. So that's still going to hurt, especially since it's going to be the first thing moving under Trick Room here. So Yop taking his time to select, and he does opt for the Garchomp. So right now, can't help but wonder, what is Yop's out here? Because sure, he could just bring the Raichu in. Maybe he could fake out, sure, but the Furry Giraffe is threatening to come back inside, and because of the Armor Tail, it will stop any fake out. Let's see how things develop here. So Kangaskhan goes for the Mega Evolution, but losing the Scrappy. Raichu opts for the Protect, not wanting to get hurt too much. Torkoal does go for the Weather Ball. The Raichu eats it up with a well-timed Protect. Kangaskhan goes for the Ice Punch, however. Oh my goodness, that takes out the Garchomp. I mean, one hit, of course, it's a critical hit. Too bad for Yop in that regard. The Ice Punch is rewarded. I guess that's tip for tap, considering the Volt Switch did critical hit the Torkoal. So it just goes back there. Now the Incineroar is here. This isn't looking too great. Yeah, Yop is kind of in a pickle right now. So, as you can see here, the timer on the side of Yop is significantly lower than Rennie's. Just showing how much time he has expended to think of a way to get out of this predicament that he's in. As the Kangaskhan switches out for the Furry Giraffe, probably to prevent any fake outs, but we don't see any. Does the Raichu hang on? It does at 7% HP. What does the Raichu go for? Because this Incineroar goes for the Darkest Lariat to take out the Torkoal. Now, can Raichu take out this Furry Giraffe? It does go for the Focus Blast. It cannot miss because of no guard, but Furry Giraffe tanks it so well. Oh no. I don't know about that. I think throwing out a Zap Cannon would have been the better play here. Because no matter what, it's gonna hurt the Kangaskhan anyway. pretty significantly. Oh, this is pretty tough on the part of Yop because this Conkelder is now freshly sent in and it can't be intimidated because that Incineroar has nowhere to switch out to, being one of the last Pokemon. But Farigiraf is paralyzed here. Drain Punch goes on to the Incineroar. It's a one-hit knockout. I think that should just seal the deal, right? Especially, well, it is Life Orb, of course, it should seal the deal there. Zap Cannon being thrown out onto the Conkelder, and it holds on with 70%. And then, of course, the Paralysis coming out here. Sorry about that. The Mach Punch will end the game for Rennie here. So, well played on the part of Rennie. So, congratulations to him. I think we only have one more match pending. Well, it should be finishing up already, I think. But we can just check it out. It's the match between Omega and Indigo. Never mind, they just finished their match, so yeah. So we're just waiting for the players in Rennie and Yop to input their results. Okay, so the tournament has ended. And the standings are finalized already. So we have, give me a second. Let's try and see if I can swap. No, yeah, no more matches. They're all finished. Yeah, they're all done already. So here we are. Josh Lau finishes first with a slightly better tiebreak score than Ryan Pareja. But nonetheless, both players went undefeated tonight. And Ronald Carino, Eman Herbacio, Rennie Payumo, and Rodrigo Javier taking the 3rd to 6th spot at 4-1. And then a bunch of other players getting 3-2. So congratulations to all of you, and most especially to the first 2 placers. I think there is a prize that was said by one of our committee members that I think Josh Lau will be getting a Yum Burger. So we'll see if Mr. Bororoid will be fulfilling on that promise. But nonetheless, congratulations to you, and thank you to all of the players who joined tonight, and I hope to see all of you join in the future editions in the tournaments to come. So thank you so much to everyone, and have a great evening if any of you are still gonna stay awake. Thank you and goodbye.